Hello, Aquarius. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is your 2-month forecast spanning the months of September and October. And as always, you can use this for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Let's take a quick check and look at Apollo, who is ever so peaceful behind us, holding some space as we get started. Let's go ahead and delve into the channeled messages for you, Aquarius. There were two things that came through in meditation. The first was an image of a clothesline, but instead of seeing articles of clothing on it, I saw like memories and feelings. I know this is very strange, but that's what I was feeling. And so I think that the first message is to air out these parts of your memory, your psyche, things that you might be holding on to, and help them see the light of day. The second image, which we'll talk about after this, is the heart. And I think the two are connected, but let's go with the clothesline that was containing energy that was maybe just a little stagnant and needed to be aired out, needed to see the light of day. One thing that you could do to help this happen in practical terms is just talk to someone. Whether it's a good friend or a professional, it's a chance to put something out and see it for what it is. And by airing it out, it's also allowing it to get out of your head and into the real world. And it feels like there just might be something that you're holding on to. The whole reason that we take, certain pieces of clothing and hang them up is they're delicate. And sometimes they react better just to being out in the open. So if there's something that's really difficult to talk about, pick that trusted friend or confidant, or again, maybe a therapist, and air it out. And by doing that, you're creating space in your mind, body, and spirit, ostensibly also with your heart, since that was the next thing that I saw. And you're going to be clearer thinking. And this is going to help you make better decisions in the long run. So that was a powerful image. There could also be some memories that you've been holding on to. And it's almost like you're pulling all of those out in the open and trying to see what serves you and what doesn't. What can I release? What do I want to take back and continue to, integrate into my life? So the heart piece is really important. First of all, this could just be an opportunity to focus on healing, dealing with any emotions that have come to the surface. But this is also a chance for you to follow your heart. Make sure that you're happy with what it is you're putting your time and energy into. And if there's any health issues surrounding heart health in your family, of course, making sure that you're taking care of those. So as we take a look at this 2-month forecast, I'll keep an eye out for things that might be stuck, because I'm thinking of the clothespins. You might be holding on to something. An example in tarot would be like a 4 of Pentacles moment where you're grasping onto something even if it doesn't serve your highest good. Or like the Hanged Man, which is hanging out for a moment so you can see things from a new perspective. So those are a couple that just popped into my head. So let's go ahead now and set up that 60-day spread, see what's coming through, and empower you so you can make the best decisions possible. Take a moment, please. Close your eyes. See a circle of light around your body, and allow now within this safe circle of light for angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters to come through. Let's shuffle the cards and begin. Okay, so we have some that were chosen for us, and I'm going to accept those. Let's move them a little bit over so you can see everything. That's better. All right, we're going to begin with your catalyst. We have a powerful catalyst card here. It reads Hero, but it was reversed. So a couple of quick notes here. If we look at this strictly from a perspective of you over this 2-month period, you can be the hero in your own life, but there might be something like a lack of sort of self-confidence or belief in oneself. And so this card is coming forth to say never underestimate yourself. If there's anyone in your life that serves as an antagonist or an anti-hero, you may decide to step in and air the dirty laundry, resolve that, fix that relationship, or cut ties and say, I don't want to have this sort of expenditure of feelings and thoughts and energy towards you anymore. I need to focus on what matters. So you have more power than you think. And if there's anyone in your life that's coming through and diminishing that power, Now is the time to speak up. Now is the time to stand up, okay? Now, taking a look at all of the cards here in the spread, I'll quickly walk you through how this layout works, and then we're going to go card by card. So right here we have karmic energy. Here we have the destiny card. We have the month of September here, past, present, and future. And then we have October, also past, present, and future, a connection and a potential block. Let's start first with the karma. It's really interesting that I was talking about cord cutting because here we have one of the ultimate symbols of someone that is putting conditions or connections or cords on you, and that is the devil. So karmically speaking, this is your moment to reclaim power, to push back that kind of energy and say no. In the past, there may have been instances where you had an instinct, you had this inner vibe where you thought, I shouldn't do this, or I don't trust this person, but you didn't listen. So this time around, you're going to listen, and you're not going to allow someone to rattle your chains, to pull at your sort of energy or get under your skin. Here's a very similar illustration, and what I like about this version of the devil card is it's not always the scary creature or the looming giant that we see in this particular illustration. Sometimes it can be something that is tempting, something that is alluring. It can be someone that has a good way with words and just kind of pulls you in. I really want you to be discerning when it comes to a contract that might be placed in front of you. I think it's wise to also ask questions if there's something that feels like it's unclear or something's missing. Always get to the bottom of it. And then if somebody is unfairly balancing something, their return on your energy or a contract, you're not getting paid enough, not getting recognized properly, it's a chance to stand up to that and say, this is not fair. This is how we're going to do this. And if not, you can move in a new direction. Basically, you can write your own sort of ending to this, figuratively speaking. It's your chance to reclaim power, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at the energy for September. We're going to start off with the Six of Swords. And again, just as a visual orientation, we're in September, and we're going to start with karmic energy. With past energy first. This is a continuation of what we just talked about. So if there is something like this, something that no longer serves you, the next step is to level up, to move up, on, or out, or away. And in fact, in this version of the card, we see a funeral pyre right there in the center, and this represents the severing of ties. Now, how does this relate to everyday life? Something like graduation or retirement is a perfect example. Quitting a job, perfect example. First day of school, a first or a final moment. And so this is a month of firsts for many of you, if you're ready. It is scary sometimes at the beginning. I think it helps to compare it to this version of the card. She's somewhere between the past and the present. In this one, she's firmly ready to let something go and move on. But it takes a minute to get there. Give yourself that time to get there if you need to. This is a perfect month to launch something new, provided that the contract serves you and isn't one-sided. This is a perfect time to make a major move or pivot in your life, especially if you're feeling stagnation. If there's any part of your life where it is anchored, stuck, or stagnating, that's where you should be putting the attention and the focus. It should all be about movement, freedom, breathing. And again, like when I'm thinking of that clothesline, everything should be out there to see. So it's clear what you have at stake. It's clear what you want. There's nothing that's been swept underneath the rug. Clear and transparent communication is really important. You may have to travel a little bit more for work. You may be moving. In general, like I said, this feels like it's good. It feels like it's been a long time coming. Let's go to the next card. So interestingly enough, we have the Ten of Swords. We have two cards around it, though, that mute it a little bit. This one, you could almost literally jump over it. But if you don't, here's what happens. So we're now going into the presenting energy for September. Ten of Swords. Burnout is the first thing. If you're working too hard, if you're not getting the support that you need, if you're not honoring your body's limits, your mind's limits, like how much stress you can take, then something has to give. And a lot of times it begins as a sort of mental stress, but then it finds a way to articulate itself in the body. So maybe you have, tension in your shoulders, a headache. It could also be like high blood pressure because I saw the heart. We don't want any of that. So this month, I feel like you can see this a mile away because we have the Six of Swords. You want to be proactive, and then hopefully by the middle of the month, you've been able to overcome this. However, just like it slipped out of my hands, sometimes things happen. The Ten of Swords can actually be spilled words, like an argument. Someone may try to elicit it from you, especially since we had devil energy. We can see that tongue, and you find that your tongue is just saying things that you wish it wasn't, and you can't put them back, right? So accountability, here's what the devil hates: kindness, empathy, honesty, and accountability. So if you say something you shouldn't, apologize, make amends, but say it from a place of authenticity. If someone else is trying to provoke you, just say, that doesn't work with me. Call it out. Shine a light. The devil doesn't like that. Kind of like a cockroach, it's going to run away. It'll scatter. So you want to be the light. You want to lead with empathy and take accountability. If any mistakes are made, people will respect you more. They're not expecting perfection. And if they are, it's unrealistic, right? The most you can expect is anybody to do the best that they can, be the best version of themselves, and be kind. So try to embody those characteristics. This can also be chronic pain, fatigue, or injury. And of course, if any of those things happen, you want to take care of yourself. I think it's avoidable. I think this is stress related. And I hope that when you see some of the other cards, you'll just say, you know what? I know my limit. We're not going to do this anymore. What am I waiting for? This is the month to prioritize me. This is the month to do something brave, heroic, and correct and right. Because someone around you, I feel like there could even be a little bit of, they're trying to plant a seed of doubt, like gaslighting or something. You know what's best for you. You always have. This is just the moment to truly embody it and embrace it. I have a little bit of a silver lining on this. There are different ways to look at the Ten of Swords. One is that, yes, there might have been a setback, but there's a new day. Every day is a reset. And once you've gone through a Ten of Swords moment, much like the Three of Swords, you know what you don't want. You absolutely know that it's time to move on. So there is a blessing. Also, when you've gone through it in the past, and I feel like you have, when you've had something like this happen, because we had that in the karma, you could just walk away. This is the best version of the Ten of Swords. She's nobody's fool. She could also be showing that a full recovery is possible. Everyone loves that sort of rising up from the ashes story. So this is what it feels like going through it. This is the sort of morning after. She's like, you know what? Maybe I made a mountain out of a molehill. Maybe this isn't as big as it needs to be. Maybe it's just time to move in a new direction. There's a song by Tina Turner where she just says, I don't want to fight anymore. And that's what this particular illustration is really ringing true and saying. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. That's part of the lyrics on that song. Sometimes it's not worth your energy. Give yourself permission to move into a path that is supportive, that is fulfilling, that is healthy. All of these things are connected to what we just saw. All right, let's move into the next part here, which is the future. So as we look at what September really has to offer you, we have Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. Sometimes you have to go through those hiccups, those challenges, those twists and turns. And when you get to the other side, it's so worth it because you know what good feels like, because you've seen the other side of the coin. So this is celebration. This is wish fulfillment. We have also a sort of a sign of fertility and abundance and birthing and creation, which, as we just talked about a couple minutes ago, is really a part of the Six of Swords too, launching, birthing, but there's a release that has to happen. So let's summarize September and then we'll go into the connecting cards. There's something that isn't the way you want it or need it to be, but we already put the caveat that you have the potential to rewrite that. Part of that could just be moving in a new direction. If you do it fast enough and well enough, you can avoid this. Even if you get to this, you don't have to take the bait. You can walk away. There are different ways to look at the Ten of Swords. It feels like you can lean on your experience and move in a different direction. Don't poke the bear, basically. And the Nine of Cups could be, it's like your wildest dream is starting to come to fruition. A little bit of challenge and then something really great. And it's almost like these punctuated highs and lows, which very much is a part of this card anyway. Keep your head on straight. Stay grounded. Don't let the best day go to your head. Don't let the worst day deflate your sort of like passion. It's walking the middle where your power is going to be this month. Don't go to extremes. This is especially true when it comes to overworking, leaning on any sort of vices that you might have. This can sometimes be an addictive card, the devil. So whatever your addiction is, whether it's caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, etc., don't go to extremes. But overall, I like the ending. A bumpy start, a solid ending, we'll take it. Before we move forward, I just remembered we have 2 additional cards. We're going to make sure that we have takeaways for each month. There we go. All right, we're going to start with the takeaway for the month of September. What's it all about? We have the beautiful 10 of Cups. So not only was the 9 of Cups a wish fulfillment card, but now we see the ability and the opportunity for you to step into love, partnership, or something better. Look at all of the rich abundance that is kind of dripping from the tree there. So there are better days ahead. There is something at the end of the rainbow. It's important for you to connect with the powerful energy of hope. And we need hope in these days when there's lots of challenges in the world. So find something in your life that brings you the sense of hope. It could be you developing a chosen family. So what do I mean by that? 10 of Cups can be love and marriage. It can be the family that you already have, but it can also be friends in your life that constitute that energy. A friend that feels like a sister, a friend that feels like a mother or father, someone in your life that always has your back. And these come through work, through extracurricular activities, through getting involved in the community. So get out and grow that community for you. If you don't have it, you can build it and you can create it, okay? If you're looking for love, after you've done the healing, that's the caveat, that's the asterisk. After you've done the healing, then you have this sort of opening that's coming forth. And that's going to be part of the connector card, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But generally speaking, it looks like at the very end of the month, there's going to be an influx of relationships, people, and opportunities. So don't get dismayed if there's a little bit of challenges at the beginning. It's clearing it all out so that you can enjoy that 10 of Cups moment when it happens. Now we're going to look at the connecting card, which is going to help us see how these 2 months are bridged together. There's a message here to slow down. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Slow down and ask yourself, am I getting what I need from this person, place, or thing? Is there anything that I need or want in my life? And if so, how am I going to focus on my personal development? Am I feeling like this is worthy or worth it? It's all about the value and the fulfillment. Once you've got that, that's going to be your compass that helps you decide where to go next. But you're going to pump the brakes a little bit and ask yourself, time, energy, and money, is it worth it? And does it feel like it's what I want? And if not, you take the helm, you turn the wheel, and you decide where to go, okay? Knights also fight for what's right. So it feels like some of you may have had a lack of money, support, or resources. So you can leverage what we've got here, this beautiful 10 of Cups, to help articulate, create, or bring about what we see here, okay? What's the block? Well, impatience. Interestingly enough, the 7 of Pentacles is a card of growth, of creation, of healing. But if we look at a different version of it, you can see what sometimes is frustrating. It takes a while for things to change, for things to recover, for things to grow. So here we have a sapling. All the roots are growing. And what he's practicing is patience, love, and just taking his time. And that's not always easy. Sometimes we want an immediate return, immediate gratification. Avoid that if you will. We have these little imps here that are kind of tempting that kid and trying to distract him with something shiny. Don't get distracted with something that looks like a shortcut. Don't push something to the finish line before it's fully baked. Don't push yourself to do something if you're on the heels of recovery, because this could be something like a broken foot or something, and you know it's a certain amount of time that it takes for that to heal before you can move forward. Keep doing the work, be gentle with yourself, and trust in the process, okay? Now let's move into the energy of October, beginning with the past first. And here's what I see. This is so beautifully tied to the patience that I was talking about. Don't rush it. Let things take root and take hold, because we have the Strength card coming forth. It's worth the hard work. Your patience has paid off. That's the first thing. When it comes to your body, this is absolutely about taking care of the physical body, specifically the physical body. So making sure that you're getting ample sleep and exercise, and also making sure that your diet is exactly where it needs to be. All of those things comprise this. You'll notice in this card that there's a little chain connected from the woman to the bear. In the traditional card, of course, we have a lion. So there's still an element of control. We're moving on from this, which is you not having control, to you reclaiming control. Now, there are diminishing returns with the Strength card. You can deal with whatever challenge is in front of you, but you have to ask yourself, do I want to keep doing this in the long run, or am I a little exhausted? So this can be one of those indicators that it might be time to move on if it constantly takes all of your might, all of your energy to get someone to do what they're supposed to get them to open up and talk to you, to get them to agree with something, just to get them to show up. It shouldn't be this every day. On rare occasion, you can connect with this and that's fine, but it's not a 365 day of the year sort of card. So you have the power, but you also have the capacity to move in a new direction when necessary. So there we go with that. I think we've reached all parts of that. One last thing here is if there's someone in your life that tends to micromanage, this can actually, it doesn't have to just be a boss, it can be a parent that comes in helicopters and makes you worry, can I do this? Boundaries are everything. Push right back. You are just as strong because this came through for you, okay? Now let's step into the beautiful energy of the present in October, and we have the World. Yes, the World is reversed. It's not necessarily bad. It could just be happening faster or in a different sort of way than you imagined. The World is the ultimate card in the major arcana. It's the last. And it represents liberation. It's interesting, like right before this, we would have flight in the Judgment card. So you have already taken flight. You're going further than you imagined, farther, faster, and this is a chance to not limit potential. That's what's happening sometimes with the World reversed. You have to answer or step into something and you're like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. Yes, it's actually happening, but you are ready and it can go and sort of like surpass your expectations. So let go a little bit. If you just got some great news, embrace it. You may be also limiting just what's possible because of someone or something in the past that told you couldn't do that, wouldn't do that, etc. So this is the ultimate and final step of liberating yourself, okay? Also with this, this is a card connected to travel and expansion, also distribution. So you had a couple of different windows to launch something. One was at the beginning of September, one is in the middle of October. There are a couple of hiccups along the way, but I do feel like if there's anything that you wanted to set into motion, you've got this, okay? And you might have two opportunities to make the move as well. It feels like you're a little bit more prepared as we look at the energy of October. So if that serves you and that resonates, so be it. All right, let's take a look at the future energy for October. All right, we have the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is an opening or unveiling sort of energy. And you can see the beautiful eyes wide open. This is very different from the traditional card. I'm going to pull that for just a second because I think it's important to look at that. So while I'm gathering this, the fact that we do see those eyes wide open here at the top, very telling, very liberating, but there could still be something in your life where you're thinking to yourself, is this really happening? Someone might reveal their true colors. You might awaken to your own sort of need, want, or desire. And again, the sort of resounding messages for the month of October is, yes, it's happening. And the sooner you embrace it or connect with it, the sooner you can move to the next level. So traditional card, blindfolded. Reversal of this card is the blindfolds coming off. But it's also saying, don't just look at what's on the surface. Tune into this, tune into this. Your heart and your instincts, they won't lead you astray. Someone around you could still be even like planting that seed of disbelief. Trust in yourself. I like that this one has sort of like this beautiful owl energy, and it's really time for you to feel free to move forward. So let's look at the takeaway for this month, and then we'll connect with the Destiny card. So we have the Three of Swords in reverse. So much healing is coming forth. So your takeaway for October is to let it go. Allow your heart to be free. And knowing what you don't want is just as important as knowing what you want. I just covered this on a daily. So it feels like for many of you, that Devil and that Ten of Swords moment was like, I don't want someone telling me what I can and can't do. I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to have this sort of trigger. I am ready for this instead. I'm ready for happiness. I'm ready for the heart to skip a beat in the best possible way. And this is why the heart came through. You deserve to be happy. You're worthy of it. There's a little bit of healing, residual healing. I do like that I feel like it's an upgrade. We've gone from the Ten of Swords to the 3. It's getting easier. It's getting brighter. And now we're going to move to what it's all leading you towards. So as we take a look at your Destiny card, we have the Wheel of Fortune. You have two of the most powerful cyclical cards that came through. One was the World. It represents a complete paradigm shift. The other one is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Think of this as taking your steering wheel in your car and kind of like doing a 180, going in a completely opposite direction. Some of you want to change careers. Some of you might be fixing, healing, or upgrading your financial situation, personal development, living or experiencing something, living in a new place or experiencing something different. You're changing your world, you're changing your values, you're changing your worth, and it's change for the better. And it's a beautiful sort of story that we see here on the table, going from a place where it felt like someone else was pulling the strings, and you had to kind of go to that moment where it's like, I'm done. Then we have multiple cards of movement and reset coming through, birthing and creating, and then ultimately seeing the seeds of that be very fruitful. So I do think that better days are coming. I think October is shining really bright. There's some disbelief that's peppered in there, a little bit of healing that's coming through that probably is, fueling that disbelief. But overall, it is a hero's journey. But the hero doesn't believe it yet. So as we expand the forecast, hopefully I can get you to that point of belief. We're going to pull cards for health, wealth, and love and dig a little deeper and see what's in store. Health, wealth, and love. For health, you got the Hierophant in reverse. Health, of course, is your mind, body, and spirit. Let's talk about the Hierophant. In the upright position, it is knowledge, tradition, structures, teaching. It's a very sort of grounded card. Now, when it's reversed, there is an encouragement to try something different. If someone around you only wants something done a certain way, shape, or form, they might be missing something. So when it comes to your health and well-being, get a second opinion. There may also be a new or emerging technique or technology that might advance or help you through whatever challenge you might be going through. This particularly applies to those of you that might have something going on that's causing pain or discomfort. Make sure that your doctor is aware of new research, new things that have just sort of like debuted. Also with the Hierophant in reverse, it's important to feel like you have someone that's your advocate. This is typically, you would see like a pope on this as a papal card, and there's two disciples, and they follow to the letter everything that the person in charge says. There's a time and a place for that. So if you've had a wake-up call and you have things that you need to do, by all means do that. But if you're in a situation where someone isn't listening to you, they're only pointing their finger and saying, do it my way or no way, you may need, again, to find someone that is more on the level of partner, coach, like a little more hand-holding than just someone saying, do this. So that's what I'm picking up on here is something that's a little bit different, a second opinion for some of you, and also a person in your life that listens as well as speaking. All right, briefly looking at September and October and seeing if there's high-level takeaways with respect to general health. So there's a little bit in each month that you want to pay attention to. As I said, it feels like September is the month where you clear and clean. The devil can represent an addiction or a habit that needs to be released. It looks like you can do that. It's better to do it sooner than later. Otherwise, the body steps in and it makes you wake up anyway. Pregnancy could be coming through for some of you. This is another reason to get healthy, especially if you're trying to conceive. For everyone else, the stress and fatigue of working too much definitely is showing up here. So know your limits. Take a break if you can. Six of Swords can be a vacation. I would love for you to take a vacation holiday or just a little bit of a break and pace yourself. It is a long distance run, not a sprint. Ultimately, what I do really, really love is the support that people can bring to you. So find that chosen family, find people that are an advocate or support system for you, and that is going to turn the tide. Slowing the pace down overall over the 2 months in both September and October is very, very important. It feels like October is an easier month overall. And what I see here is a rebound. So we had this sort of potential block where things take a little bit longer than you expect, but ultimately there's a recovery. So whatever this is, whatever this might be, it feels like you can rebound as long as you take the reins, take accountability, and make the necessary changes. There could be a toxic environment. World in reverse is about moving on, moving away from something, or moving beyond a relationship that no longer serves you. Even if you're being pressured by others, you have to follow your own path on this. Get your eyes and ears checked if you haven't in a long time. That card represents that. I mentioned the heart came through loud and clear, even in my channeled messages. So it might be a good time to work with a cardiovascular specialist to make sure that you're getting ample rest. I was going to say rest and exercise. So restercise is not a word. Get rest and exercise separately. And that is going to be very important. And the wheel in reverse is also about understanding that when you're changing up these routines and changing up your approach, it'll take a little time for that to be something that you've integrated, like that it becomes second nature. So if you start something and don't see immediate results, stick with it. And if you're feeling frustrated, I think giving it at least 2 to 3 weeks is going to be very important. And then the results should start to come through. Okay, let's move on from health to wealth. This is going to be resources, life, purpose, and career. We got a really powerful card here. It's justice and justice in reverse. In the upright position, things are going well when this card appears. Often you're on the heels of a decision, you're finding better balance in your life. The reverse is true when it's upside down. It's saying something isn't quite balanced. And we talked a little bit about that earlier, like with the devil card. Something's lopsided. Maybe one side is getting more than the other. Someone might not be listening to you. Something needs to be brought into better balance. It's also simply the word no. Saying, I don't want this, or we didn't agree to this. Using your voice, speaking up, having those firm boundaries. If there's something that you want to fight for, do it. This is a period, this 60-day period, this crosses the 2 months. You can really make some progress. So for some of you, it may literally be like a court case. It may also just simply be the creation of firmer boundaries and the reinforcement of those boundaries. And then I think that's pretty much everything here. You don't have to take the first thing that comes across your plate, particularly for those of you that might be seeking work. So before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break it down. We're going to start off first with those that are presently employed. Here's what I see. I'm not thrilled with how much work is on your plate, or perhaps what the overall environment looks like. There could be some stress. There could be too many hours of work that are on your plate. If you have to keep carrying this load, I mean, really look at this Ten of Swords. He's been through it, right? Then what you want to advocate for is what we see over here, the Wheel of Fortune. Let's see if I can get it focused on the camera. There it is. So you deserve a little bit more. And that's why justice came through. You're going to speak up and show why you deserve what you deserve, and then try to get it in writing. That's one thing that justice is definitely advocating for, is getting things in writing. Overall, let's talk about both months, and then we'll move on to the next category. So in September, for those that are presently employed, I think it's important to not get wrapped up in someone else's drama. Don't be tempted to do something that is either wrong on a policy or a legal level, definitely with this. And if you've previously set a boundary and someone is constantly kind of going past that, call it out, say no. And if you need to move on, do that. Like in a sort of, if it's a vendor that you're working with or something, you would just find someone else. Now, in a day-to-day job, it might be a colleague where you just can't work with them. You've got to work with someone else. Try to avoid an argument if possible. I know sometimes it happens. It'd be better to get a mediator to come in and help with that. And that's what the Ten of Cups is representing. The good news is it's a bumpy start, but there's good news coming through. And it does feel like there's some recognition for the hard work. If you need to travel for work, it's going to bode well. It can help you get away from some of this stuff. You come back refreshed and renewed. Okay, I feel like October is the month when you really start to shine. If you have a leveling up or a sort of standing out moment, we have 2 cards connected with that. It's faster than you think. The timing is a little surprising. In order to progress in your job, you may need to transfer to a different office or to a different sort of geographical location. I don't know if you want to do that because this card is reversed, so stay true to yourself. In both months, there is a little bit of internal turmoil as well as external turmoil. That's why it's important to slow down, take care of yourself. Pacing is everything, and patience is everything. This is the stronger of the 2 months. I feel like you've regained your strength and perspective. You're able to move up or move on, and then the rest of this month is really about getting back to work and focusing on what matters most. I definitely get a vibe that some of you are a little long in the tooth. You're ready for something new. So when we look at job seekers, see if that resonates for you. Let's move on now to those that are currently entrepreneurs if you own your own company. So some of you are thinking of going bigger. And there's a couple of periods. You either want to launch something, potentially, because we have 2 cards connected with launching, or you want to expand, and both of these are also connected with expansion. If I had to identify one window that's a little bit better, it definitely sits in the energy of October. We're through some of this difficulty with the Devil and the Ten of Swords. Things are at a better pace here. All right, now let's just take it outside of the launch window and just go month by month. I think in September, your biggest challenge could be that there's something that you might need to cut loose. It could be a project. There may be something where you've overcommitted and you might miss a deadline. And in this situation, communication is really important. The sooner you get out there and let people know, the less sort of negative feedback that you might have. From a staffing perspective, there could be someone that's unhappy. See what you can do to either help them, or if it's at a level where it's not good, there might have to be other courses taken, especially if someone has done something that is against policy. So this is the challenging month when it comes to like human resources, product and project management, and it feels like you're in too many places at once. So you also may just need to expand, because I see it here. So you can set into motion the expansion, and then it feels like if you're seeking someone, you could find a really great person, possibly a Leo, and by the time they come, it's just going to make things so much easier. You'll think, how did I get along without you? In September, cut back a little bit on how much you're doing. You can start to ramp back up in October. October seems good overall. Money starts to take a better starts to turn around, I should say, but it's important to look at where you're kind of putting your products and your services out there. You might be missing a market, and this is a really good time to get someone to come in and advise and help you navigate that. I definitely see a hidden opportunity for growth coming through in October. So work with an advisor. Absolutely. Everybody this month, these 2 months, I should say, you want to do things by the book, especially entrepreneurs. When it comes to tax situations, any sort of HR regulations, absolutely keep everything by the letter, by the book. All right, let's move on to job seekers. Can you find things? Yes, I think it's much stronger in October, but in September, here's what I'm picking up on. There's 1 or 2 options that are just a pass. I feel like it could sting a little bit to hear that something didn't work, but the level of it's either in a part of town that you didn't want to travel to, or the amount of traveling that you're doing doesn't suit you. So definitely be mindful of commute and location. They play a big role. There's another place that has potentially a toxic work environment, and that is important to sort out before you sign on the dotted line. Overall, contractually, there also may be like someone that's trying to lowball you, put too little of a sort of like paycheck out in front of you, or the title isn't what you want. As I look at October, so much better. I think that there's at least one solid option that could come through, and it comes through towards the beginning of the month for some of you. I think that even then, there's something around the compensation. It's not exactly what you want, but I like the location, I like the opportunity, and it looks like there's a lot more growth potential. So see if this potential lateral move isn't worth it in the long run, okay? You can explore beyond what's on the table by absolutely looking in different geographical locations. You have 2 cards that are showing, look at something that is in a different city, state, country, or province, and if you can telecommute or if you're willing to relocate, that'll open up your options. Okay? For those of you that are students, you got to take care of yourself, particularly as we look at September. Burnout is real. It's real for students. Some of you might also be commuting to school or you're a little homesick, and it does resolve the following month, but it's a little tougher this month. So please be gentle with yourself, take care of yourself. On the bright side, what I see is you're going to be able to succeed at, whatever it is that you're studying. It's the emotional side that's difficult. October looks a lot better. I think it's really important, especially in October, to look at post-graduation goals. And you can start this the very first semester that you take classes. You shouldn't wait until your final year. This will help you figure out things like internships, majors and minors, and anything else that can kind of help you structure this together so that you're basically not wasting a single minute in school. Getting really strategic is what I see October offering you. There are a couple of surprises that come through. I think it's really important to make sure that you're not missing either a prerequisite or missing an assignment, because I get a surprise that is like, oh, I should have seen that. So make sure that you get a second set of eyes and ears on whatever it is that you're doing to make sure that you're strategically in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing, okay? And don't put anything extra on your plate on either month. You have enough. Justice in reverse, the scales are upside down. You've got enough going on, okay? Now let's move on to retirees. Retirees. There's a little bit of frustration here. Some of you are it's almost like wanderlust. You want to travel, you want to move on, but you're tied in place for a little bit. I have all these anchors, all these chains in place. There might be an obligation that has to be met, a family member that needs some assistance. Try to bring this to a close, and remember, there's only so much you can do for one person. You don't have to be the hero that pops into every situation. Pick and choose where you're going to put your time and energy. Family comes through in a very big way for you, and sometimes they're dumping all of their garbage on you, and that's not okay, okay? When I'm looking at October, I feel like this is going to be a much more enjoyable period. You can travel a little bit more. Your health seems to be in a better place. I think you've slowed down and created the boundaries that we've talked about, and overall, it's looking pretty good. Let's move onward. We're going to look now at love and relationships. We have the Four of Swords coming through here. So let's bring it up to the main camera. So here we have someone that's rested so long that things are starting to grow around them. I'm going to pull the traditional card while we're talking, but basically the Four of Swords, especially in a relationship, can represent a period where you get very comfortable, almost too comfortable, and maybe there isn't as much communication or effort as there was before. Here's a more traditional card. So we have the sepulcher or a coffin, and it represents peace and quiet, but it can also represent crickets, like so much peace that you're not getting anything, or silent treatment. So we want to try to avoid that. We want to make sure that there is enough communication, passion, and interaction. And it's good to have peace and quiet, but not all the time, okay? Let's go ahead and break this into 3 categories. We'll start off with existing partnerships. Things are put to the test in September. There could be a secret that comes through. There could be something out of your control, like sickness or illness or a family member that needs assistance, and it tests the sort of foundation of the relationship. There's a happy and ending and silver lining, though. 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups shows me that this is just a mere hiccup. But what's missing from this general spread is more communication. We have swords, but not the kind of swords that I'm looking for. The 10, the 3, and the 8, they're representing miscommunication or a lack thereof. So it's really important to be there for each other, to listen, to talk. And I think more importantly, some of you might want to, or you might need to talk about money and expectations and desires. Once you get past that, like I said, the end of September looks good. October, there could be a move or some travel on the horizon. I also get a very strong maternal figure. This could be a mother-in-law or an aunt that likes to kind of get in the middle of all of this. They could be connected to some of this. So the boundaries are super important. Ultimately, with the Wheel of Fortune in the world, things are moving up, leveling up. I think the important thing here is not to underestimate the pain or the needs of your partner, because there is hurting. It gets a little less lessened here, but it feels like if you are at a point where you can't, like let's say it's a physical issue like sickness or illness, then, all you can do is offer support and make sure that they're getting the help that they need. But if there are some emotional things going on, this would be at the point where it requires external assistance. That's what the world is. Something more worldly advice, someone that can see it from a more objective point of view. Just saying, I see you, I appreciate you, I understand what you're doing can also help quite a bit. An unexpected move or pregnancy could also be creating some tension. These are good things ultimately, because this feels like it's attached the money and the world, moving for work. And then this one is just an argument over when to start a family. It's either happening later than you want or unexpectedly. So try to see the blessings in this conversation if at all possible. And if you need to give each other a little peace and quiet, do that, but don't let the quiet grow to silence. Moving on to those that are single and looking. There are a lot of options. There could be a Capricorn coming through where there's a karmic connection. Even if the devil card in and of itself, when I'm looking at love, isn't necessarily negative, but connected to the 10 of Swords, I would say this person may not be the best listener. They may also push some of your buttons. There could even be a lack of alignment when it comes to things that are core, whether it's values, religion, politics. Something is causing an argument. Best to walk away from that. I feel like you can meet more people beyond this. You don't have to accept the first offer. So don't in this situation. Also, don't force it. Let's remember the big card here, the 4 of Swords. If there's a connection, great. If there isn't, move on. I feel like the end of September into the beginning of October starts to bring in a lot of new options, possibly a great connection in the form of a Leo. And the only things kind of challenging you this month are health and maybe getting settled. If you just moved in or you're about to make a move, those sorts of things can make it tough for a new relationship to stick. But I definitely see a couple of options coming through. A Capricorn, a Leo, and I think there's even more options if you are willing to be a little bit more social. Okay? If you are single and happy, good for you. Here's what I see for those that are not looking for love at the moment. There are multiple opportunities this month for travel. If you're open, if you're willing, if you're ready. The big focus is on health and healing, so this is a great time to make amazing strides in that part of your life. If you want to end some sort of a bad habit, like I said, whether it's with an addiction or just like you're not as active as you want to be, whatever it is, you can start to make progress in that respect. I see growth when it comes to your financial sort of part of your life, so this is a great time to see money, finances, your general sort of like productivity and your wealth grow. Even though we're looking at, single and happy, that's what I'm seeing. All things resource oriented seem to want to be on an uptick, and that's a good thing. All right, now let's take a look at your final question for this 2-month period. Anything that you still want to know, go ahead and ask, and let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay. So if you asked me a yes or no, the King of Swords in reverse is saying yes, as long as you're willing to walk the walk and talk the talk. It is important in this period of time, especially, to make sure that contracts are understood. Since we had the Devil, since we had the Justice card, you have to make sure that you've read all of the fine print. Don't make a promise that you can't keep. That's something that I really wanted to underline earlier, and now it's coming through at this moment. Make sure that you're accountable, that you're clear, that you're kind, all of those things. Now, a couple of notes with the King of Swords. So it's a yes, but there's a little bit of follow through and you have to take your time. The other piece here is make sure that the timing and the tone is correct. When you're talking to somebody new or just wanting to embark on a new project or communication, check in. How's the person feeling? What's going on in their life? If there's something that you don't agree with, why did they land where they landed? Was there something that wasn't understood? Get all of that out of the way first, and then try to keep it simple. Less is more, particularly when the King of Swords is reversed. Okay? Ultimately, though, that is a great card for action and swift movement, like brevity and sort of like just very quick action. So I feel like there's a lot that can happen in this period of time. That, my friends, is everything for the months of September and October. I've been enjoying doing the 2-month spreads. I hope you have as well. If you did like this, please do me a favor. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and then also opt into notifications. You can give a little bit of love and support through stickers and memberships, and you can do all of that right here on this video page. And if you want to also follow me on social media, it's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. You can go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, for additional links, and I would love for you to do that. And that's everything for today. Apollo's in the other room, so we'll let him be. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for spending some time with me, for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.